Last time in the series, we found that Kevin Harvick would still win the championship, but this time win it easily over Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now today, in the 12th episode of this 13-part series, we'll take a look at how the 2015 season would have played out with the playoff format in place. Now, knowing what happens in real life, I have to stress more than ever that this is just a hypothetical situation. I know that they would have raced differently with the playoffs in place, with the certain point situations in place. So for the love of God, just have fun with this one. So with that being said, let's take a look at how the 2015 playoff grid would have rolled out. Starting off, there's Joey Logano. He would win at Daytona, Watkins Glen, and Bristol, and that would be how he would join the playoffs. Next up would be Jimmy Johnson with wins at Atlanta, Texas, Kansas, and Dover. Kevin Harvick would be in with his wins at Las Vegas and Phoenix. Brad Keselowski made the playoffs with his throwing win at Auto Club. Denny Hamlin makes it with a win at Martinsville, and Matt Kenseth won 4 times to get in at Bristol, Pocono, Michigan, and Richmond. Kurt Busch's wins at the other Richmond and Michigan races would get him in the show as well. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s return to plate dominance earned him a spot with wins at Daytona and Talladega. Carl Edwards got in by winning crown jewel races, the Coke 600 and Southern 500. Martin Truex Jr.'s first win in the 78 car at Pocono punched in his ticket as well. And Kyle Busch, after missing half of the regular season due to an injury, was able to get in with wins at Sonoma, Kentucky, Loudon, and Indy, as well as getting a waiver from NASCAR to do so. So, with there being only 11 winners, it left 5 open spots for points. These spots would go to Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, and Clint Bowyer. So, heading into the playoffs, the grid would roll off like this. To start off, the first round of the playoffs would go to Chicagoland, Loudon, and Dover. At Chicagoland, Denny Hamlin was the first to lock in his spot to the next round. Meanwhile, drivers like Casey Kane and Clint Bowyer struggled and floundered at the bottom of the grid. Drivers between 7th and 13th in points would really tighten up, as they would all score equal amounts of stage points as well as being close in finish. These would be the points heading into New Hampshire. And at New Hampshire, Matt Kenseth would join his teammate in the next round as well. The big losers of the day being Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who were both on the wrong end of the fuel mileage game. So, heading into Dover, at the cutoff race, the points would look like this. Casey Kane and Clint Bowyer were in must-win scenarios. They didn't win. Ryan Newman also ran poorly and was thus eliminated. Meanwhile, borderline drivers like Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, while Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards garnered enough points and stage points to get in. This left 4th place finisher Jamie McMurray as the odd man out. So, going into Charlotte, the points reset again. And Charlotte would start off the round of 12, which consisted of that race, Kansas, and Talladega. The Charlotte race immediately marked down 2 major contenders.
Your sponsors and everybody involved to go try to win this race.
Tagged by the back, the 88 into the wall.
Stay up there.
Looked like Carl Edwards got into the back of him.
It did. It looked like he got into his left rear, and now this 88 has to decide how much damage does he have. Is it tire rubbing? This is much like what we saw with the 4 at Chicago. He stayed out on the racetrack, had a flat left rear tire, hurt his chase.
That is Matt Kenseth. Kenseth, serious damage to the right front.
Sorry, come on.
That one is not going to be repairable on pit road.
Yeah, I'm going to the garage there, guys. Broke whatever it broke there.
Kenseth thought whatever part it was had broke earlier. Apparently it had not until just now.
And I hate to be Jason Ratcliffe in that position. You know you don't want to be out there.
Out front, Joey Logano won, locking himself into the round of 8. So, heading to Kansas, the grid lined up like this. Earnhardt would continue to struggle at Kansas with a 21st place run, putting him in a must-win scenario heading into Talladega. But up front was where the drama was really taking place.
Here comes the 22. He's closed the gap all over the back bumper now as they've caught this slower traffic. And around goes the 20, sideways in front of the 22. Kansas slides. Caution comes out. 22 was all over the back bumper of the 20 as they entered turn 1.
I got slams when I come the first time. Joey spun me out, lifted my tires off the ground.
The spin took Kenseth down from a safe place in the playoffs to being behind the cut line by 2 points, the standings looking like this heading into Talladega. Due to being crashed, Denny Hamlin missed on the next round. The same went for Matt Kenseth. As for Dale Earnhardt Jr., he nearly won but was caught in second for the final caution of the race and was thus eliminated. The battle would come down to Jeff Gordon and Martin Truex Jr. Gordon, in gaining more stage points than anyone else that day, would move on to the next round. So heading out of Talladega, the grid reset again. The round of 8 took place at Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. At Martinsville, the season would change outright.
Straddling 2, now just Kurt, still there.
Around goes the 20.
Keep coming, shut through it.
Kenseth the round out in front of the field. The 41 has damage. And Kenseth cleared by Logano. Maybe no. Kenseth takes him out. Logano into the wall. Caution comes out and the crowd roars.
What's going on down here?
I know we had talked about it after what we saw a couple weeks ago. I was the first to say I never expected that to happen.
To the 2015 season, out of 3 and 4, this win's gonna punch his ticket to the championship 4. Gordon wins at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's how you fight.
It has been a boisterous crowd.
Burn that baby down! Burn that baby down!
And I believe this crowd got what they wanted tonight.
Even after being crashed, because of stage points, Logano was still in the top 4 heading into Texas. There was a clear line drawn between those who could race for points to get into the next round and those who were in a must-win scenario. At Texas, the guys formerly from 5th to 8th in points really didn't change much positioning, with the exception of Brad Keselowski. Keselowski and Jimmy Johnson were the two looking to change the playoff picture. The two led 312 of the first 330 laps, but the 48 would get the best of him, joining his teammate in the final 4. So, heading to Phoenix, the grid would be set for one last race to get in. The race at Phoenix was pretty much uneventful. Non-Final 8 driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the event, meaning that points would decide the championship participants. Kevin Harvick was already far enough ahead, so his great finish locked him in, while Edwards, Logano, and Kurt Busch were too far back to make any charge and missed out. This left the battle for 4th being between Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. Because Keselowski didn't score stage points and finish behind the 18, he would end up eliminated. That meant that the final 4 was set. Jeff Gordon, in his final season, made it for one last chance at a championship. Jimmy Johnson, who would return to the final 4 again, was looking for redemption. Kevin Harvick was looking to defend his 2014 title, and Kyle Busch was looking to cap off an almost impossible and improbable comeback. In the early part of the race, all 4 drivers were up front, at one point being 1, 2, 3, 4. But Harvick would take control through the early parts of the race around the 100-lap mark, before Kyle Busch would take the championship lead around the halfway point and never give it up.
By 20.
Down the backstretch. His closest competitor, just a dot in the rearview mirror. Through 3 and 4. No one has battled through as much pain and had as much perseverance as 30-year-old Kyle Busch. Tonight he earns his first Cup title. Kyle Busch, the 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion.
Oh my God!
It would be his first championship in his career. And even with the playoffs, he would have the most controversial championship in NASCAR history. Of the final 4, they all made up for 14 wins in the 36 races, which was the least since 2012. Playoff drivers won every single race, though, in 2015 combined. Meanwhile, outside of the Final Four, Joey Logano had the best non-Final Four playoff run with 2,421 points, 21 points more than the previous best fifth-place finisher, Kurt Busch, in 2004. There were 12 winners in the top 16. All of these drivers finished 12th or higher in the points. Major changes that took place were that Jimmy Johnson replaced Martin Truex Jr. in the Final Four, while Dale Earnhardt Jr. replaced Denny Hamlin inside the top 10 of points overall. 3 drivers continued their streak of now 12 straight playoff appearances: Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Matt Kenseth. No rookies and no new drivers would make the 2015 playoffs as well. So, with all of this being taken place and being brought forth, I want to bring it to you. What did you think of the 2015 playoffs? Let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. And until next time, have a good one.